Pretty class, we're gonna use Genymotion as per the settings, and today we're gonna start with our module called Insecure Data Storage Attack. So Insecure Data Storage Attack is your vast top 10 attack, which is your M2, Insecure Data Storage. This is a new category in a combination of M2 and M4. From mobile for top 10 to top 14, this covers the insecure data storage and uninitiated data leakage of the information. So M4 and M2. What is M4 over here? Insecure authentication. Failing to identify the users at all when they should be required. Failure to maintain the user identity when this is required. And weakness in session management. So it's all about the data which can be revealed on the server side. Data leakage or data insecurity storage on this mobile application part on the server side. So what we're going to discover over here, we're going to try to look what is your insecure data storage. And insecure data storage is all about your encryption techniques. See over here, encryption techniques are often used in order to store such information, such as a method can be easy to secure to a point. But there are also a lot of ways to developer make a mistake. They may be decided by how easy it is feel to confident that the protection that the encryption provides. Encryption standard, because when we are transferring a data to a client application to the server side, it should be an encrypted form that no third party can be read. But some of the applications, they store their data on their local server. For example, our cell phones. Therefore, not being careful as they will securing the entire application or site in order to efficiently protect the data. For example, what kind of things that they look for? They look for the data which is stored on the server, which is a mobile device. The mistake that developers are often, the risk that is running by the insecure data storage, how to determine if the data is vulnerable, and how to protect yourself. So in this module, it's all about the data storage. How can we secure our application and the server side? For example, in this scenario, we're going to learn about the 4 different types where we can store our data, or where the data can be stored without any encryption standard. Some Android developers store sensitive information without encryptions. That's the biggest mistake over there. For example, if you say application might be stored data into the shared preference. And what is shared preference over here? Shared preference is also your data which is stored over here, data package, and the shared preference. And the second word, it could be stored on your databases, it can be stored on your temporary files, it could be stored in external files. For example, to examine the insecure data storage, we have to access the shared preference on an Android applications. But what exactly is this shared preference means in the Android applications? Let's see over here. So I'm going to use ADB connect 192.168.106. So daemon is not running, starting now on the port 507, and the device has been completed on the port number 5555. So what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to write ADB help to check all the applications that we can use it for, what are the things we can perform with the help of ADB. Logcat is a different thing, install the package, push the package installation app, shell, file transfer, you can see push, pull, synchronization.
सर एक डाउट था
Yes.
सर, इसमें देखा था कि अगर हमें किसी भी डिवाइस से कनेक्शन करना है तो हमें उसके फायरवॉल में एडीबी कॉन्फ़िगरेशंस होनी चाहिए हमारे जो भी डिवाइस है उसमें. तो सर अगर किसी डिवाइस में जैसे मान लीजिए मेरे को अपने फ़ोन में कनेक्शन करना है, उसमें एडीबी की नहीं है कॉन्फ़िगरेशन, तो मैं कैसे कर सकता हूँ वो?
All the cell phones has to be one method, which is your USB enable debugging mode. You have to specify that.
तो सर
You have to specify this one.
नहीं, ये तो ठीक है सर आपका, बट इसमें तो क्या कि हमें यूएसबी की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी ना. लेकिन अगर मान लीजिए को हमारा कोई वाईफाई नेटवर्क पे है तो
Wi-Fi network. In the Wi-Fi network,
यूएसबी ना भी हो तो
you can simply do the packet inspection part through the burp suite.
अच्छा,
packet encryption.
ओके।
But you have to enable the USB mode, debugging mode, for connecting this one.
आईपी से कोई काम नहीं हो सकता?
No, you have to use the USB debugging mode.
ओके सर।
So for example, you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the connect function. So ADB already connected, we're going to use ADB shell. So ls-all. So over here we can see the architecture of our mobile device, and over here what we're going to see on the Diva application, they have given from here insecure data storage part 1. So what I'm going to do, find out where and how the credentials are being stored and the vulnerable code. Insecure data storage is the result of storing confidential information insecurely on the system and poor encryption, plain text access control issues over here. So enter the third party services and name. So what you're going to do, we're going to write Craw Sec, and we can write any password over here we want. So I'm going to write Craw Sec 2020. Let's save this one. So we can see that the data has been shared, saved successfully over here. But the most important part is to check the source code. Insecure data storage 1 activity. So over here we can see the public void, which is important over here, the function call. So we can see that share preference editor, preference manager, get default share preference, edit, this is a normal thing, put string, which is for client side user, edit text, find view ID, and get text. Okay, so again they have given a get text. So what is the use of get text over here? Get text to string in Java. If someone is new to in programming, you can simply search for in Google get text in Java, not in JavaScript, Java. So get text is a class provider standard mechanism for extracting the text from VLS logs message get. Messages are identified by their message ID and may be qualified by the substitution name and the basic format of string object written by the gets text method in the message body and required message. So in the layman language, if I say get text is basically used to extract or fetch the file from the server, from the client side applications. And what is the get text and set text in the important part? This is also important. What does get text written in the Java? Get text returns string value to the text associated with a string. Like example, J button B is equal to you to provide you a simple data. So the most important part over here, the vulnerable parameter over here is the get text. So it's fetching the data from the server side, but it's okay. It's fetching the data from the server side, but the data has been stored on the shared preference. So what is the shared preference over here? Shared preference in Android. Introduction. Shared preference allow you to store small amount of primitive data and key values in the pair of files on the device. To get a handle to the shared preference files, read and write manage preference data. Use the shared preference classes. And the Android framework manages shared preference files itself. So this shared preference allows us to store a small input of the data on their local server. What is an example of shared preference? Shared preference is the way in which one can store and retrieve a small amount of primitive data and key pairs into a file and a device storage such as string, integers, float boolean that makes you preference in the XML file inside of an app device storage. See. Let's see the fundamental. In this scenario, you have to, if you are doing a simply mobile application pen testing part, you have to simply check all the things one by one. It simply change the key pairs, but the data, you can see the data you saved to the shared preference is different from the data in the saved activity, which is you learned about in the, okay, this is a different thing. It's a chapter something else. Data is saved in the activity when instance state is written across the activity instance of the same user session. Shared preference persists across the user sessions. It depends on the correlation part. Shared preference persists even if your app stops to restart. So there are various steps to what you should already know. Android Studio, creating building parts, designing the layout is a normal thing for Android development part. But over here, the most important thing is to understand what is the shared preference and what is the use of get text. So in this scenario, the shared text hasn't stored the data on the server side in the local server. So what I'm going to do, I already have shared the password in the insecure data storage part 1. So let's see. So the shared preference data, the location of the shared preference would be on your data part, the data directory, which is over here, system directory. So cd data ls and all. So I can see there are some other system applications like app, libraries, private, backup, report, Delphi cache, local, media. So over here we're gonna go to the data file, which is your system file again. cd data. All the applications are there. In the data, you will see all the application which is installed on your local server. So I'm going to use the jaka.dasim diva file, which is my important part. Clear tag, ls and all. And over here, I can see some folders like your cache folder, your database folder, and your libraries over here. And I can see in the bottom side, they have given the shared preference file. ls and all. So as per the, we have read that the data has been stored on the server side in the XML format. Okay, the main objective, if the data has been stored on the server side, it should be an encrypted format, but the data has been stored in a single normal plain text that could be vulnerable for any attacker or anyone. So this is a normal XML file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a command which is called pull command. We can add a pull command over here, or we can simply execute all the function one by one. So I'm going to delete some of my applications over here which was written on the last time. So I have to pull this file on the server side. So I have to specify the proper URL also. So I'm going to write this one over here, the full path and the file name. And the file name was jaka.dasim.xml file. So we're going to copy this one and I'm going to save it over here. So we have a proper file to pull. So for that reason, in this case, I'm going to use adb help command. And over here, I'm going to use the file transfer. I'm going to use the push, you can say push command, copy local files directories to the device, or pull command, copy files from directories from device to device. We're going to use from device. We're going to use pull command. So over here, adb pull command and the file path. And you can see the file has been transferred in my local server. And so you can see the data in a normal XML format, which is your username was crosssec and the password was crosssec.2020, which I simply stored. But the main reason of this vulnerability is to data is been stored in the plain text. If you search for the vulnerabilities according to the insecure data storage, Android vulnerability, you will see lots of things, but it will show you the vast top 10. Insecure data storage, threat agent, attack vector, exploitability is easy, security weakness is common or detectable is average, service, what could be the impact, identify threat, privacy violation, fraud, reputation damage, external policy violation, PCI, business impact. You see, you have to make a proper report. I am vulnerable to insecure data storage. What could be the vulnerabilities over there? These categories, insecure data storage, are initiate data leakage. And what kind of data leakage will be there? SQL database, log files, XML database stores on manifest.xml. See, binary data storage, cookie storage over here, SD card, cloud synchronous data. These are the common data which is stored on the insecure data storage vulnerability. Initiate data leakage includes but not limited the OS framework, compiler environment, new hardware, rooted jailbreak devices. Lots of things can be happen How do I prevent? The most important thing, how you can secure the application, because as a security analyst you have to check one by one all the things. So for that case, you can see URL caching, both the requests, keyboard press caching, copy paste buffer caching, logging, intermediate data, HTML data storage, browser cookie object. They have given all the things one by one. ovasp.org project 2020. See, it's going to go to the string, which is your SQLite credential.database. And we're going to try all the things one by one. OWASP developer cheat sheet. 404 page not found. Okay. It's not open. It's okay. The major objective is to understand how the vulnerabilities are stored on the server side because of the poor code, because of the poor encryption standard they are using. You have to simply store all the, but the major part is they have given where should the data can be stored. SQL database, log files, XML database storage, manifest files, binary. These are the important things you should know. And over here, they have given a proper value that the data has been shared on the shared preference. Get text, return the string value. Let's try with the second one. So over here, they have given proper a function is calling over there. So we can see over here, this one is on our open to create database, which is your IDE-S2, SQLite database, cursor factory, null. This is your MDB SQL execution, create table if not execute. So this is a normal thing. They have given the string get message. Or we can simply see over here also that insert into the my user values and find the IDS2 user to get the file. Okay, they are creating a table, or you can say anything that is which is on your my user. So let's see what is over here. That would be my insecure data storage part 2. Find out where the credentials are being stored and vulnerable code. So they have given the same thing which is over here. So this time I'm going to write my name. That would be my Partho Wendell, and that would be OSCP 2020. So the data has been stored on the server side, but the main objective of this one, now we have to look at the data on the database. So where should the database might be? So for this case, what you can do over here on the code they have given, they have simply say they create a database name IDA2, IDS2. You can see over here. So in this scenario, they have simply storing the data on the get text parameter and insert into the my user value. Okay, they have look over here. They have given something my user dot values file. My users might be a table name over there. Insert into the table name my user values. So what are we gonna do over here? We're gonna try to fetch the data on the server side. So I'm gonna try to look for the data, and that would be so we are where we are. We are on the preference directory. So ls-all. Okay, let's go one down. So we have shared preference and we have the databases also. So let's check the databases file. And what we have, we can see there is one file which is your IDS2, which is sharing the database file. So devote notes.db. Let's see this one. This is a file. So can we open this file? I'm going to try this one. So we have read and write permission. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fetch this file over here on my local server. again. So this time, what we're gonna do? We're gonna try IDA. What was the path? What was the name? IDS2D. So again, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use the pull command to fetch the file. So ADB pull. Let's see. Okay, what was the name of that file again? It was not D. File doesn't exist. Okay, so we can see this was. Let's see over here the data storage part. So over here you can see some examples over here which I already done. I have made some codes over here, so you can see one by one. Let's see the part 2. What have they doing? So enter some data into the edit text field, which is your secret they have given. Once you have done to better understand where the app is storing the data, open the JDX files, JDX.gov as per the data we have gonna see this one, and a close look on the following source code. Reveal the SQLite database to store the user into the sensitive data. So over here they have given the proper value that can be stored over here. The following line shows that the application is using a raw SQL queries to insert the data into the database. So it was like your MariaDB execution SQL insert into MySQL values, local edit text. So you can see they have given the path where you can simply check all the things. So they have went to the directory which is your sim.diva, and they look for ls. There's a cache file, database file, lib file, shared preference. As you can see, database folder is available inside the app directory. Let's navigate to the database server, and over here they find ls. They find the file which we want, and they say they're gonna look for. There are two files, which is a debugging.sv or IDS2. So what they're gonna use over here, they're gonna try to fetch the files. Debugging is a file for a different challenge that will be discussed later. IDS2 looks like the only file we know. So they're gonna use the pull command over here, the data storage, asim.diva, and the file name. So I think I was doing the same thing. Sorry. It was database. Yep. Now we can see the file has been stored. And the file is over here. So let's copy these two things over here and move it to my mobile directory, database testing. So I already have that file. So what are we going to do over here? First of all, let's see which file type is it. So IDS2, let's see, yes, let's use the file IDS. So over here we can see this is a SQLite file database. So we have to use the SQLite to enumerate the data about the database server. So let's see, do I have SQLite? SQLite 3. I already have that one. That's great. So over here, what we're gonna do? We're gonna try to use SQLite and try to enter that server. So all you have to do, you can write the file type as I have given. In Unix-based machine, you can use the file command to determine the type of the file as the shown below. So over here, you can see they're gonna use all the functions over here. As we can see in the figure that the SQLite database is a file, so dump the file like your SQLite and the file name. So what are we gonna do? SQLite 3 and the file name. So we are in. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna use show tables Sorry, show tables in semicolon. Okay. Let's write help. Let's do help over here. Uh, dot help. Sorry. So remember, if you want to write, you can have to write dot. You can select all the things one by one because dot compares the hidden files over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look for the table names and databases. Okay, so if you want to use a database, you have to type dot databases. And what else we have over here? See. Okay, so for tables, I have to write tables over here, dot tables. Show the current values in the videos. Okay, let's try this one now. Okay. No clear command will run. So show dot tables. Show dot tables. What exactly the wrong thing which I'm doing right now over here? Do I write dot tables? I don't have to use the show command over here. Sorry for that. Okay, so we can write dot tables over here, and over here we can see some datas, just like your Android metadata and MySQL. So my user was the table name that we can see over here that was inserting in the data, which is your my user. So what I'm going to do over here, we're going to use select star from my user. And we can see the data has been on the plain text, which is our path bundle and which I said the password. So as per the data has been stored on the server side in the database binary phase. So most of this architecture, if you know, it was used on the server side. For example, remember the architecture that we have discussed before. So it was on your mobile data, and the vulnerability name was your first one, which is your mobile architecture. Yes, it was on the libraries. You can see in the libraries, you can see there was an SQLite on the server side. So the data has been stored on this database server in the plain text. You can see. But the most important thing is the vulnerable code. If you're using the vulnerable code over there, so it could be stored on the various techniques. Let's try with the third one. Find out where the same thing which I have given. So next time I'm going to write something else. Brian. Let's see. This data has been stored. Now the main thing over here in this challenge, that some of the data has been stored on your temporary files, temp files. So temporary files are the important part because your memory layout, it stores the data for a specific period of time. So in this thing, what we're going to do, we're going to look for the source code in the JDX. And over here, let's see the inactivity part 3. So what do we have over here? We have the function call, which is file in uinfo. Okay, there is a file uinfo, create template uinfo and the temp folder in the new folder and get application information, which is your data directory. Okay, which could be readable and writable. Okay, they have given the conditions over here. And what do we have? What you can see over here? File writer, you can see uinfo, get text over here. Okay, again they are getting the get text to fetch the file from server side, 2 strings. and read the new line. So what is the read the new line is your toast make it text. Third party's credentials saved successfully, and we can see the file error occurred with the diva file. Okay, so we can see there's a file which is creating in your temporary directory. With the file name was your uinfo file. So we have to search for the uinfo that whether the credential has been stored as per the data. So let's see where we can find this one. So we have cache files, we have databases files, we have our library shared, and we can see over here there is a temporary file has been created as per the data on the jaka.async diva folder. Temp file, uinfo file, which is created over there for storing the temporary files. Let's see this one. Or you can use the pull command to fetch the file from here, as we have done this before. All you can do is use this file and paste it over here. You can see the file over there, which is stored. So the most important thing, the file has been stored in your local storage also with the temporary files. You can see it's all about the reputations of the applications, the privacy violations, the data violations, or the things that can be used. And let's look for the other things. What we can find instead of this one. Insecure data storage, Android vulnerability, or we can see HackerOne. $140 in the year of 2015. Every application needs to be stored something secret like a website username and password, and internal storage is the place to do it. Android sandbox prevent the other application from accessing this data, but in the Vine, the Android app developers had to choose to store the secret information without the distance. So you can see data, the application name, database, and the view data. Please just see the screenshot of SQL database. So they have used a proper GUI version of that to see all the things one by one. Some other $50. Okay, they are also use the SQL database. Most of the applications were $400. It was on Razer and it was December 2000. But they didn't disclose the application. Tester discovered that the Razer Pay Android application was storing the user data locally on the phone in the clear text. Adversary would not be accessible on the phone obtain the information. The application was patched to avoid strings or information version. $500 for that. This time it was data in the file directory that follows to explore activity URL to PDF access to save in the SD card, which is world accessible directory, but in real world does not validate which is given. So I can try the URI file to copy the file. Since they use the URI to fetch the data from server side. This is also gonna come in your syllabus. They use a URL. They use a URL to get the files on the server. Or you can look all the things one by one. This is also one of the major vulnerability. So the most important part is to understand how the application works in the real life scenarios and the things. Let's try with the external storage. So in external storage, we can go to the insecure data storage part 4. Let's store any data like Partho, and let's write Mandal. Let's store the data. The data has been stored, but the most important thing is to read the source code. So as per we can understand this, the data which is stored on the external part. Again, there is a file of uinfo environment get external storage directory. Environment, now the environment has been set. That the environment of the previous word is on the internal part. Now it's an external part. It was create time file, and this was your get external part. So over here, what you can see, it's an already read and write. And over here, they're gonna create a uinfo file again. Forward the get text parameter as per the data, which is your vulnerable code. So over here, it's a .uinfo.txt file. Dot means it's a hidden file on the server side. Let me show you one thing. So let's move to the directory. So over here we can see we have get to the root access, which is your dev etc initialize mount processor root has been or SD card. So as we know, SD card is our external hard drive, you can say external memory. So you can go CD SD card. Let's use clear -all. Okay, so over here I use -LA so that I can see the file. But some of the users, they simply use ls, alarm, Android, DCM, downloads, movies. These are the files on the server side. But according to the server, read the source code. There's a dot over there. Dot means it was a hidden file. To fetch the files, to fetch the hidden files on the server side, we use ls-all. ls-all. So I can see the uinfo.txt file. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a cat command .uinfo.txt, and I can see my credentials, which is stored on the server side in the plain text on external storage with the file name. So a developer can create a file directory where it can store the data on the plain text, and that could be a lead of your theft informations or your frauds and the PCI policies also. So the most important thing is to understand how the application works in the scenarios and the attack type, because if you simply search for insecure data storage vulnerability, there will be lots of vulnerabilities. I mostly focus on the most common blogs. Read about all the vulnerabilities they have given also. I am the vulnerable insecure data storage. And there are lots of other things. So you can try to check Medium reports also. Medium is one of the best platforms to get all the blogs according to this one. See, and you will get all the latest insecure data storage part 2. Let me see which application is doing right now over here. It's using Diva part 1. Again, it's going to do Diva part 3. How to secure hashing using MD5 and SHA-1 method, encryption using keys to a final word. You can see summary. Medium records will provide you lots of things that you can use it for this. Insecure data storage is only unlimited to password and username, email, APIs, etc. I found in a unique technique to check from insecure data storage. How to find this vulnerability? Go to your target website and upload a file for pictures. You can see over here they are going to use all the things. View image now and a link open where your file. You can see all the things one by one. Copy the link and save it in the notepad and delete your account and then visit the link. Is there each and everyone has a different things to share. Insecure and vulnerable app Viva. Viva is also an application that you can use it for testing part. They are using ADB, Trozer, Genymotion, free person use, Linux, Logcat, and your Mob SF. Introduction, they have given all the things one by one, but the most important thing is the vulnerable code. Viva the application store the data in the encrypted files.
Sir,